It was an unmarked SUV, a sleek black Escalade a few years old, but the tinted windows and the three men inside gave away its purpose. The two in front wore sharp navy suits, like private security. The one in back, a giant in a tailored pinstripe, filled the seat like a boulder. Two teenagers on the sidewalk, one gripping a tablet, the other scrolling on his phone, watched it roll into the packed lot of the Capitol Hill Community Center. They exchanged a look. "That's the cops," one whispered. "Obviously," the other scoffed. They hurried off, sneakers scuffing the pavement. The rule was simple. When cops show up, you split. Stay out of trouble, their parents had taught them. Inside the community center, a lively crowd cheered and clapped as the annual Summer Harvest Festival kicked off, with music and laughter spilling out into the evening. The teens didn't glance back. Statement of Mr. Jonathan Miller. July 10th, 9:30 p.m. Interviewed by Detective Ralph Anderson. "I know you're rattled, and that's natural, but I need a precise account of what you saw tonight. It's seared into my head. I'll never forget it. I could use something to calm down a Valium, maybe. Never tried it, but I need it now. My heart's still racing. Your forensics team will probably find vomit out there, and yeah, it's mine. No embarrassment here. Anyone would have lost their lunch seeing that. We'll get a doctor to prescribe something after this, but I need you clear-headed now. Can you walk me through what happened?" "Yeah. I was walking my dog Rusty around 6 tonight. Rusty's a corgi. He eats at 5. My wife and I have dinner at 5:30. By 6, he's ready to do his business, number 1 and number 2. I walk him while Lormy wife cleans up the kitchen. Fair split. Keeps our marriage smooth, especially since the kids moved out. Am I going on too much?" "You're good, John. Tell it your way. Call me John, please." Mr. Miller sounds like a bank manager. So I took Rusty out. We live at 249 Oak Street. We headed to the corner market, then up 14th Street to Lincoln Park. Rusty loves sniffing around there. It's usually quiet that time of evening, but tonight the community center lot was jammed big Summer Harvest Festival. Only one vehicle caught my eye. A grimy white van. No windows, just rear doors. Looked like a delivery guy's ride. Any logos, like Volkov's Plumbing or Petrov's Carpentry? Nope, nothing. Dirty as hell, though, like it hadn't been cleaned in ages. Mud on the tires, probably from the rain earlier. Rusty sniffed at them. Then we took the gravel path through the park's trees. About a quarter mile in, he went wild, barking and yanking the leash. I had to hold on with both hands, and he's just a corgi. Thought he'd smelled a raccoon, but then I saw blood drops on a maple leaf about 5 feet up. More drops further along, then a big splatter on some bushes, still fresh. Rusty was frantic, and that's when I heard an engine rev behind me loud, like a broken muffler. "Can't say for sure, but I'd bet it was that vehicle," he said, narrowing his eyes. "Didn't check if it was gone later, but it creeps me out thinking the killer might have been watching me from the trees." I followed the blood, scared, but thinking someone might need help. Rusty led me to a small clearing with a stone bench, drenched in blood. More on the ground. The body was there, face up, eyes wide, throat ripped open, just a raw red gap. The kid's pants were down, and there was a bloody stick, in his rear. The handprint on it, plain as day. Rusty was howling, and who does that? "We'll get them, John." "What time did you spot the blood?" "Around 6:20, maybe 6:25. Didn't check my watch, but that's close." The Capitol Hill Community Center lot was overflowing, like a county fair on opening night. Cars bore festival stickers and hand-drawn signs. Harvest Fest 2025. Eat local, love global, fun for all. Inside, the crowd's cheers and music soared as the festival's main act, a local band, took the stage. "Every time I'm here," Troy Ramage, a 20-year veteran, said as he weaved the unmarked Escalade through the crowded rows, "I wonder who this Estelle Barga was." Ralph Anderson, muscles taut and pulse hammering, stayed silent. This case cut deep, too deep. He'd taken down plenty of crooks, but this was different. With Flint City's task force slashed to 3 senior detectives, he had to lead despite the budget cuts. Alexei Volkov, another detective, was off at a fishing retreat, good riddance. Elena Kuznetsov, who should have been on maternity leave, was working with the FBI on another angle of tonight's operation. They weren't rushing, Ralph hoped. He told Ivan Petrov, the sharp Flint County DA, as much in their pre-arrest meeting. At 35, Petrov was young but savvy, with a knack for closing cases. "We've got gaps to fill," Ralph had said. "She'll claim an alibi. We'll tear it apart," Petrov shot back, grinning. "Bet on it." Ralph knew the evidence was rock solid, but he wanted more time. Find the alibi's weak spots, then pounce. Normally, that'd be the move. Not now. 3 reasons to act fast, Petrov had said, ticking them off. 1. The town's terrified. Parents aren't letting kids out. They need an arrest now. 2. The evidence is ironclad. Ever seen a case this tight? Yeah, Ralph conceded. 3. The kicker. Petrov leaned in, eyes intense. She's gone too far this time. Maybe it's her first, maybe not, but she's done it now. And if she's got the taste for it, she could hit again. She's around kids, constantly young boys. If another gets hurt, our jobs are toast, and we'll never sleep again. Ralph already felt sick for not seeing it sooner. Irrational. Sure, you don't peg a predator at a community picnic, but the guilt gnawed. Sarah Mitchell had been at those picnics, organizing games, teaching kids confidence for the Youth Adventure Club. Ralph's son had been one of them. "Handicap spots free," Ralph said, pointing between Ramage and Yates. "2 grand fine," Yates teased from the passenger seat. "We'll skate," Ralph said, stone-faced. "Spots ahead," Ramage said, sliding into one. The 3 men stepped out. "You nuts? There's 1,000 people in there," Ralph said as Yates reached for his Glock. "What if she runs?" Yates asked. "You'll chase her down." Ralph leaned against the SUV, watching Ramage and Yates head toward the festival's lights. The crowd's energy pulsed. Nabbing Mitchell fast was a call he and Petrov made together, but doing it at the festival was Ralph's decision. "You in?" Ramage looked back. "No. You make the arrest. Read her rights loud and clear, then bring her here. Yates, you ride in back with her. I'll be up front with Troy. Petrov's waiting at the station. This is top tier, start to finish. The bust is yours." "It's your case," Yates said. "Why not cuff her yourself?" Ralph's tone was ice. "Because Sarah Mitchell ran the Youth Adventure Club for 4 years, coached my son, taught him how to lead a team. I don't trust myself to keep it together." "Got it," Ramage said. They moved off. "Cuff her right there," Ralph called. "In front, not behind." "Against protocol," Ramage said. "Don't care. I want the crowd to see her in cuffs." Ralph grabbed his phone and dialed Elena Kuznetsov. "You ready?" "Outside her place," she said, voice calm. "Me and 4 FBI agents. Warrant?" "In hand." "Good." He hesitated. "When's the baby due?" "Yesterday," she said. "Let's move." Click. Statement of Mrs. Arlene Stanhope. July 12th, 1:0 p.m. Interviewed by Detective Ralph Anderson. "Will this take long?" "Not long at all. Just tell me what you saw in the afternoon of Tuesday, July 10th, and we'll be done." "All right. I was leaving Hanson's Market. I always shop there on Tuesdays. It's pricier than the big stores. but I stopped driving after my husband passed. Gave up my license a year later. Didn't trust my reflexes anymore. Had a couple of close calls, nothing major, but enough for me. Hanson's is just 2 blocks from my apartment, where I've lived since selling the house. Doctor says walking's good for my heart. I was coming out with my cart 3 bags, all I can manage with prices these days. Meat's outrageous. Haven't bought bacon in ages, and I saw the Peterson boy. You're sure it was Frank Peterson? Oh, yes, it was Frank. Poor kid, my heart breaks for him, but he's at peace now. That's the comfort. There are 2 Peterson boys, both with that bright red hair like carrots. But the older one, Ollie, that's his name, is at least 5 years older. He used to mow my lawn. Frank had a bike, one of those with high handlebars and a skinny seat. A banana seat, it's called. Maybe so. It was a garish lime green, awful color, with a sticker on the seat. Flint City High, it said. Only he'll never make it to high school, will he? So tragic. Would you like a moment? No, I want to get home to feed my cat. She eats at 3 and she'll be wondering where I am. Could I have a tissue, though? I'm a mess, thank you. You could see the sticker because he wasn't riding it. He was pushing it across the market's parking lot. The chain was broken, dragging on the ground. Did you notice what he was wearing? A t-shirt with some band on it. I don't know music, so I can't say which. If it matters, I'm sorry. And a Flint City cap, tilted back, showing all that red hair. Redheads often go bald young, you know. He won't have to worry about that now, will he? It's just so sad. Anyway, a grimy white van was parked at the lot's edge, and a woman got out, walked over to Frank. She was... Let's hold off on that. This van had no windows? Yes. No writing? No company name or logo? Not that I saw. Okay, tell me about the woman. Did you recognize her? Of course. It was Sarah Mitchell. Everyone in Cloverdale knows Coach Sarah. My husband volunteered with her at the community center before he retired. They called her Coach Sarah because she runs the youth soccer league, the summer track program, and coaches kids basketball in the fall. Cloverdale loves her. Let's focus on what you saw that afternoon. Not much more to say. Frank spoke to Coach Sarah, pointed at his broken chain. She nodded, opened the van's back door sit. Couldn't have been hers. Why do you say that? It had an orange license plate. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but I know Oklahoma plates are blue and white. All I saw in the back was a long green box, maybe a toolbox. Was it a toolbox? What happened next? Coach Sarah loaded Frank's bike in the back and closed the doors. She patted him on the shoulder. She went to the driver's side, Frank to the passenger side. They got in, and the van pulled out onto Mulberry Avenue. I figured she was giving him a lift home. What else would I think? Sarah Mitchell's lived in Cloverdale for 20 years, has a lovely family, a husband and 2 girls. Could I have another tissue? Thank you. Are we done? You've been very helpful. You said this was around 3 o'clock? Exactly 3. I heard the town hall clock chime as I left the market. I needed to get home for my cat. The red-headed boy you saw was Frank Peterson. Yes. The Petersons live nearby. I see those boys all the time. And the woman who put the bike in the van and drove off with Frank Peterson was Sarah Mitchell, also known as Coach Sarah. Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Stanhope. Who could believe Sarah would do such a thing? Could there be others? We'll find out during the investigation. The Summer Harvest Festival at the Capitol Hill Community Center was in full swing, the grounds buzzing like a county fair. Since all festival relay races were held on the center's field, the best in the county, with bright lights for evening, event steam advantage was decided by a coin toss. Sarah Mitchell called heads before the race, a habit from her own youth coaching days. and heads it was. "Doesn't matter where we run, I just want our last shot," she always told her kids. Tonight, that last shot was critical. In the final leg of the youth relay, the Cloverdale sprinters trailed by a single point. With one runner left, they had a chance to tie or win if young Trevor Michaels could outpace his rival. The crowd clapped and stomped, cheering as Trevor, the smallest kid on the team, stepped to the starting line, his running vest slipping off one shoulder. He fidgeted nervously with his sneakers. Sarah had debated swapping him for a faster runner, but Trevor, barely 5 feet tall, often drew penalties for his opponent's missteps. And while he wasn't a sprinter, he could sometimes pull through. If she benched him, he'd carry the shame through middle school. But if he clinched a point, he'd brag about it at picnics for years. Sarah knew she'd been there herself, long ago, in the days of wooden batons. The rival team's runner, a lanky kid with a fierce kick, lined up. Trevor glanced at him, face pale with nerves. The whistle blew, and the crowd roared. Gavin Frick, Sarah's assistant coach, paced in front of the team, clutching a crumpled schedule. His oversized sprinter's shirt strained over his belly. "Hope you didn't mess up keeping Trevor in, Sarah," he muttered, sweat beading on his brow. "He looks terrified, and that kid's got legs like a gazelle." "Let's see how it plays out," Sarah said, though her gut churned. It wasn't just the race. She hadn't felt right for weeks. She glanced at her family, her husband Tom and their daughters, Lily and Rose, sitting in their usual spot by the finish line, waving encouragingly. Sarah forced a smile, giving them a thumbs up, but her unease lingered. Tom frowned, nodding toward the sidelines. Sarah turned and saw 2 city cops striding along the field's edge, past the volunteer referee. "Hold, hold!" the race official shouted, halting the runners mid-stride. Trevor stepped back, looking relieved. The crowd quieted, eyes on the cops. One reached behind his back. The other rested a hand on his holster. "Clear the field," the official yelled. "Clear the field." Troy Ramage and Tom Yates ignored him, marching into the sprinters' Hudley makeshift setup with a bench, water jugs, and a pile of spare sneakers straight towards Sarah. Ramage pulled handcuffs from his belt. The crowd spotted them, murmuring in a mix of confusion and thrill. "Hey, you two," Gavin called, nearly tripping over a stray shoe. "We're in the middle of a race." Yates pushed him back, shaking his head. The crowd fell silent. The rival team relaxed, watching curiously. Their lead runner jogged to his coach, whispering. Sarah knew Ramage slightly. He and his brothers sometimes watched youth soccer games. "Troy, what's going on? What's this about?" Ramage saw only bewilderment on her face. But he'd been a cop since the 90s and knew the worst ones could play innocent like pros. This woman was as bad as they came. Following Anderson's orders, and not minding a bit, he raised his voice to carry across the crowd, which the next day's Flint City Chronicle would report as one 588 strong. "Sarah Mitchell, I am arresting you for the murder of Frank Peterson." Another ooh rippled through the stands, louder, like a gathering storm. Sarah frowned at Ramage. The words were clear. She knew who Frank Peterson was and what had happened, but their meaning slipped away. "What? Are you serious?" That's when a festival photographer snapped her picture, the one plastered on the Chronicle's front page. Her mouth gaped, eyes wide, hair spilling from her sprinter's cap. She looked stunned and guilty. "What did you say?" "Hold out your wrists, please." Sarah glanced at Tom and the girls, still by the finish line, frozen in shock. Horror would hit later. Bibir Patel, the sprinter's lead runner, drifted toward the huddle, tears streaming down his face. "Get back," Gavin shouted. "Race isn't over." But Bibir stood in the grass, sobbing, staring at Sarah. She stared back, half convinced this was a nightmare, until Yates grabbed her arms, yanking them forward. Ramage snapped on heavy metal cuffs, glinting in the evening sun. "You have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer questions," he boomed, voice carrying like a festival announcer. "If you choose to speak, anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to an attorney during questioning now or in the future. Do you understand?" "Troy?" Sarah's voice was a whisper, her breath short. "What in heaven's name is this?" Ramage pressed on. "Do you understand?" Tom rushed to the sidelines, gripping the barrier, Lily and Rose crying behind him. Rose's water bottle lay spilled in the dirt. "What are you doing?" Tom yelled. "Why here?" "Do you understand?" Sarah realized she was cuffed, her rights read publicly before nearly 1,600 people, her family among them. It wasn't a dream, it was a spectacle, a shaming she couldn't grasp. Best to end it quickly and sort it out. Even in her daze, she knew life wouldn't return to normal soon. "I understand," she said, then turned to the crowd. "I don't know why I'm being arrested. Gavin Frick will finish coaching the race. And, as an afterthought, buy beer, get back to the line, stay ready." A faint clap rose, quickly fading. A loud voice from the stand shouted, "What'd she do?" The crowd murmured two words that would soon spread across Cloverdale. "Frank Peterson." Yates hustled Sarah toward the festival's food stalls in the parking lot beyond. "You can preach later, Mitchell. You're headed to jail. And guess what? Oklahoma's got the needle, and we use it. You're a coach, right? Bet you knew that." They'd barely gone 20 steps when Tom caught up, grabbing Yates's arm. "What are you doing?" Yates shook him off. When Tom reached for Sarah, Ramage pushed him back, firm but calm. Tom stood stunned, then spotted Ralph Anderson approaching from the lot. He knew Ralph from the Youth Adventure Club, where Ralph's son, Derek, had trained under Sarah. Ralph missed some sessions, but always showed up when he could, back when he was still in uniform. Sarah had even sent him a note when he made detective. Now Tom ran toward him, swift across the grass in his worn sneakers, the ones Sarah swore brought luck to every festival. "Ralph, this is a mistake." "I'm afraid it's not," Ralph said. This part stung because Ralph liked Tom. He'd liked Sarah, too. She'd given Derek confidence, small but vital at 11, yet he couldn't ignore the evidence. Tom might have known what Sarah was, even if he buried it deep. They'd been married a long time, and crimes like Frank Peterson's didn't come from nowhere. There was always a buildup. "You need to go home, Tom. Take the girls to a friend's. Police will be waiting at your place." Tom stared, uncomprehending. A cheer erupted as Trevor Michaels surged forward, passing his rival in the relay's final stretch of personal best. Better than any practice run. But the crowd's focus lingered on the arrest, more gripping than the race's finish. A shame, really. Trevor had never run so fast.